I'm a huge proponent of cooking at home. It saves money in the long run, it helps you to have nutritious food for your family, and it builds a healthy family culture. Day in and day out, though, I admit it can feel like a pain to constantly be thinking of new recipes to make and get food on the table. I don't think we have to make it quite so complicated though. There's things that we can do to simplify and streamline the dinner process. One of those ways that I like to do that is through simple one skillet meals. So in this video, I'm going to show you 5 skillet meals that I cook for my family, and they are all featured in my cookbook, Simplified Supper. You can find the link below if you would like to check it out. The first skillet meal is a very simple taco rice. My whole family really loves this meal, and I always keep the ingredients on hand. It starts out with browning ground beef, and then you add a cup of rice, a can of drained black beans, a cup of salsa, and taco seasonings. You could use a packet of taco seasoning, but I just like to use the spices that I already have in my pantry. And then I just add water and give it a good stir and put the lid on and let it simmer until the rice is cooked through. When it's all done, you just take off the lid and fluff it up, and then you can just put it in your bowl and top it with whatever toppings you like. You could use cheese, sour cream, avocado, more salsa, cilantro, onions, whatever you wish. Meal number 2 is a really simple yet flavorful butter chicken. Just start with some melted butter in the skillet and add cubed chicken and a ton of warming spices like salt, chili powder, cumin, cardamom, turmeric, cinnamon, and ginger. Then we add our crushed tomatoes and either cream or whole milk and a little bit of sugar just for balance and sweetness, and stir that around, cover it, and let it simmer until the chicken is done. I always check with the meat thermometer to make sure the chicken reaches 165 degrees, and then here's the finished product. It's so delicious and comforting. Skillet meal number 3 is a very simple sloppy joe. If you can make tacos, you can definitely make this. It just starts out with ground beef and onion and bell pepper, and you cook that until the ground beef is no longer pink and the vegetables have started to soften. Then we make our really simple sloppy joe sauce. We add our seasonings, which is salt, chili powder, and pepper and garlic cloves. And then for the sauce, it's just tomato puree, a little bit of honey to add some sweetness, apple cider vinegar, and some mustard. I always taste just to make sure the seasonings and the flavor is on point, and then just let it simmer until it has thickened up. You could serve it on buns, on potatoes, or sweet potatoes. This particular night, I just served it on sourdough bread because that's what we had on hand. I didn't want to go to the store and get something else. My kids really love this one, and I just kept it really simple this particular night. Just served it with some fruit, pickles, and cheese sticks. Skillet meal idea number 4 is a Moroccan-inspired chicken. This one is a little different from what you might be used to, but I really love the flavors of this one. They are great in the fall because it has a savory and sweet taste to it, which I think is perfect for the fall. It starts with browning whatever kind of chicken you want. I use chicken thighs here, but I have also used drumsticks for a budget-friendly option. And then you just season the chicken with salt and let it sear on both sides. You're just wanting a little bit of color on both sides of your chicken. After removing the chicken, I added just a little bit more olive oil and I put chopped onions and carrots in here and sauteed those until they were softened. Once the vegetables are softened, I put all the spices in there, which is garlic, cinnamon, cumin, turmeric, coriander, ginger, and pepper. And then I added my sauce ingredients, which is honey, chicken broth, and a little bit of raisins. And this just makes a really delicious, warming, and sweet sauce. If you've ever had a Moroccan tagine, it's similar to that, but this is kind of like a simplified, pared down weeknight version of that. Then we add our browned chicken back into the skillet because at this point the chicken isn't done yet. It's just browned on both sides, so we add it back into the skillet with the sauce, and we're going to just let that simmer until the sauce has slightly thickened and the chicken cooks all the way through. And I like to use my spoon and put some of the sauce over top of the chicken, and a couple of times during the cooking process I do this again just to kind of get that flavor onto the chicken. You can serve it over instant couscous for a no-cook option, or this particular night I wanted a little bit extra protein, so I served it over quinoa, which I cooked in the Instant Pot while the tagine was cooking in the skillet. This is what it looks like, finished product. The last skillet meal idea is a Mexican picadillo. It is so good and just straight up comfort food in my opinion. It starts with chopping an onion and carrots and Yukon Gold potatoes, like so many of my recipes do. Then we just saute them with a little bit of oil in the skillet. After they've cooked for a few minutes, you're just going to scoot the vegetables off to the side and add your ground beef and start browning the ground beef. Then we just add the remainder of our ingredients, which is a bunch of spices: salt, cumin, oregano, smoked paprika, pepper, and a bay leaf, along with either diced tomatoes with the juice or crushed tomatoes, some chicken broth or water, and frozen peas. After it's all nice and stirred and incorporated well together, you just put the lid on and let it simmer until the potatoes and the carrots are tender. I do like to, a couple of times during the simmering process, to remove the lid and stir it just to make sure nothing is sticking and that everything is cooking evenly. I like to just serve it as is, but you could also use some tortillas on the side, and here's what it looks like all plated in a bowl. Thanks for cooking with me today. I really hope this gave you some ideas on some simple skillet meals that you might be able to make for your family. And don't forget, if you would like all the detailed recipes, they are found in my cookbook, and I'll have the link below. Thanks again.